it's your evening, so you guys can drink martinis, but it's our morning, so we're only allowed coffee.
Cool. So again, I am Kganya Mogashoa, and I'm born and bred from Johannesburg, South Africa, and I basically started doing art. I think I've been doing it all my life, but I only really started becoming consciously aware of it when I was about 15, 16 years old.
Okay.
And so that was the first time I actually intentionally started doing visual art as a subject at school for 3 years until I was 18. And it was a risk. I didn't know I was going to be good at it. I had no idea if it was going to be a good idea or not.
Okay.
But I thought, let me just try, you know. And so I actually studied interior design in my tertiary education phase. And yeah, I kept on gravitating back to art every time.
That's so cool.
And so
that's so cool.
Yeah, so about 5 years later after that, I think I decided to go back to art again. And so I officially became a full-time artist at the beginning of 2020, just as the pandemic was about to start.
That's so great. And so just tell us a little bit about, what do you think America should know about South African artists, particularly your art? What do you think makes your art unique that people in the United States are gonna just get so excited about it? Because I love the colors, I love the drama of your work. What do you think makes your work stand out?
Well, my work is centered around mental awareness and the empowerment of women, particularly in the context that I grew up in. And so I think what America can pick up from my work is what we have in common, some of the shared experiences that we have, especially as Black women, even though culturally there is a bit of a separation. There is something about who we are that brings us together every time. And so that's why I can resonate with what American women are going through on a daily basis, because the similarities in what I go through as well, personally.
Yeah.
So that comes through a lot in my work. Yeah.
And what else we want to know about you is, there are a lot of colors and textures and line work that you use. Tell us a little. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your techniques.
Okay. So my technique is firstly inspired by, the banknotes. So the colors that I've chosen are particularly borrowed from the South African, the actual currency that we have, our banknotes. So the blue, for example, is inspired by the 100 Rand, which is blue. So I am an interior designer.
Yeah.
So I'm very much, I wouldn't say structured, but, composition is something that's very important to me. So I think that's where the incorporation of the lines come in for me.
Okay.
As I was creating it, it started coming together, and I thought it actually looked amazing. So,
yeah.
That's where that inspiration came from. And I also just like incorporating the gold streaks as well, because gold for me represents royalty, and that's what I believe all the figures I paint are.
So, Kganya, I think let's just ask you one more question. Right now, you're seeing a lot of people overseas are getting involved in virtual exhibits and using digital animatic effects with their work. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's a new way of doing things. It's quite interesting. it's something that I'm actually thinking about doing at a later stage. I'm still exploring my narrative a little bit more, but I love the aspect of going digital because it makes art come alive a little bit more. I like the fact that now we can make art move. We can make people be able to touch and actually see it, as opposed to just having a static image.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of exploring those different elements.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's great. And so when you travel, do you see a lot of this happening where you are? This trend towards virtual exhibits and using a lot of sound and lighting techniques with the art, or do you see more kind of traditional galleries and stuff happening in South Africa? How do you think that compares to the trend now, to the use of digital media in the art world?
I think that there's a bit of both now everywhere, but I also still think that people still value the physical interaction, the connection. I mean, honestly speaking, it's not the same,
Yeah.
I remember throughout the pandemic, people were just like, okay, cool, we love the art online, it's amazing, but we still want to have that human interaction, what I see happening from my personal experience right now is that people are starting to come out a little bit more. They're going to physical spaces. They want to actually meet in person. They want to feel, the aura, the environment, which is something I personally prefer as well.
Yeah.
So
A little more
I
fun.
think that there's a bit of both. Everyone is trying to make it, work both ways so that those who aren't able to be there physically can still be a part of the experience. So I think there's a bit of both.
Yeah. A bit of demand for both. Okay, and just quickly, if there's one thing you want the world to know about you, one secret, one thing that you think is really unique, what would that be?
I don't know if it's particularly a secret.
A secret that you're prepared to share. Or is there one secret about South Africa that you think people should know about?
Wow. I don't really know if it's a secret, but I think that South Africa has so much more to offer than what the media has shared about South Africa. So the world still has a lot to experience about South Africa. There's still a lot of art that needs to be unearthed, that still has to be experienced and seen. There's so many stories that we have in common with Americans and many people around the world. So there's a lot of gold that you haven't seen yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great. So I think, that's pretty much, given us a lot of insights to your talent right now. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think your work is amazing. The colors are amazing. The dimensions and scale. How do you work with that? For example, are you able to work to any scale that somebody might need a piece of artwork for, or how does scale and dimension affect your work?
I think scale and dimension are very important to me because I want my artwork to make a statement, especially with the series that I'm working on right now about women appearing on banknotes and currency. I think that, scale in my context is very, very important because it's an image that I feel no one should miss. You have to see this. And so my portraits are usually about a meter. So it's quite big. I mean, you can clearly see in the background that it's really big. Um, so yeah, I think that I always like to, make a statement with my artwork because it's subject matter that people don't really think about or talk about every day. So yeah.
Okay, great. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us here in LA today. I know it's getting late that side. I'm so happy to be speaking to you. So we just want to know what motivated you to become an artist. When you go to your easel and you pick up your canvas, what motivates you to do that?
Yeah, so basically, what inspires me to make art is I actually need to do it. So if I don't do it, I feel frustrated. So it's just something, like eating and breathing that I have to do.
Okay.
But I feel that I need to express specific kind of messages in my art. So that's basically what inspires me to do it. So like my current work that I'm working on are these big charcoal drawings on cardboard boxes.
Okay.
And it's basically about all the people that are invisible because they are poor, basically. Okay, so there's a lot of imbalance in the world. So that inspires me to make art to actually bring this more into consciousness, that there are so many people who are basically invisible.
Right.
But things like that, I like to express issues that are close to my heart through the art that I create. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, those are such great pieces, and they go so well together. How did you choose your subjects, and do you think it's relevant around the world that these people are invisible? Could this be anyone in any country at any time, or does it have any kind of political meaning for you?
Well, I think it represent anyone in the world. I mean, I've also read up articles on the internet on the homeless, literally in Los Angeles, where there is also a huge problem with homeless people.
Right.
And there's such a huge contrast between those that are super wealthy and those that are basically destitute. And the same situation is prevalent in South Africa, where there's a massive gap between people who can barely afford to eat,
right,
who live in a little shack that they made themselves, compared to people who live in mansions. So that kind of discrepancy exists all over the world. So it could represent anyone. But for instance, this man behind me is someone I know personally who lives on the street in Cape Town. His name is Monray.
Okay.
And he guards cars to make money for a living. So I asked him if I could do his portrait. So what I do like to do is actually know the model personally and photograph them. But this female on the right here is just a face. It's not someone that I know.
Yeah.
But the message is still the same. But for me personally, I like to meet the person because it just makes the experience of creating the work.
They can be anyone. They almost feel like they're invisible. And you're trying to show that they're human beings. They have obviously emotions and soul. They're not invisible. So do you want to just carry on talking about that?
Yeah, basically the way I feel is that we are all the same on the inside, right? Whether you are wealthy or poor, whether you are the president of the USA or a street sweeper,
right,
or whatever culture you come from, we're all the same on the inside. We all feel, we all have emotions, we all have the same kind of needs, really.
Right.
And we're all connected. So it's kind of like these images are basically just it's almost like looking at yourself in a different form.
Right. Gerald, can you tell us we want to know a little bit more about you as a personality, as a person. Like, what inspires you to pick up the paintbrush? When you see stuff happening around you, is it global exhibits? Is it artwork overseas? Do you have a particular artist that you really admire?
Do you know what I love? Very much, William Kentridge has always inspired me as an artist because he's also, he loves charcoal, and obviously he's a master in his work. But for many years, he's been very inspiring to me because even though he uses charcoal, he's also always been very inventive with his technique. And he turned charcoal drawings into animations many years ago.
Wow,
things like that. So he's always inspired me. But at the moment, people like Zanele Mkholi and Tony Gum really inspire me. They're both South African female artists that reinterpret the very stereotypical view of different segments of African identity. And Zanele Mkholi is also quite provocative in that she's reframing the Black LGBTQ identity and community in South Africa, which is very challenging, and it's transforming society. And that kind of work really inspires me. Stuff that actually has an impact on the way people think and change society to actually address the ills that we need to face. So I'm really inspired by artists like them.
I cut it off. Okay, just hold on 1 second. Oh, there we are. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm very inspired by artists like them. And then at the moment, I'm also very inspired by people who use a lot of color, because I tend to mostly work in black only, which can become very somber. Right. So I've been trying to force myself to use color more.
Okay.
Like in this artwork behind me,
I love it.
Which is also about identity. It's basically called fragmented identity. So it's basically how people are in our society we live in. We have to wear so many different faces. We may have a culture that comes from the mountains in South Africa, but we are thrust into the urban environment where you have to now be someone else and work with technology and maybe wear a suit that you don't really want to wear because of the corporate environment. So it splits our identities into different parts. Yeah. So that's basically what that is about. But it's also about a pertinent issue in the time we live in because of these things that we use, right, where our minds are so full of things all the time. We don't actually have time for our own personal identity very much.
Exactly. And how do you feel about the trending in art right now, in terms of the fact that, sometimes African art, you may see the subject with, for example, a bowl of fruit on their head, or carrying the woman carrying a baby on her back, very traditional. Do you think that stereotypes people at all? Or do you see a move away from that into more a kind of contemporary, into a more contemporary look and feel? Or do you think people are getting kind of away from that traditional stereotyping in the sense of African art right now?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that are very much aware of that stereotyping and that try to avoid it. And then in South Africa, you do see a lot of those traditional kind of images which are made by people who maybe come from a small town, a small village, and they sell their work, for instance, in Cape Town on the side of the street.
Right.
And they do their figures in a very specific way, or they do images of very traditional scenes. and it's authentic, and it comes from the heart, and it comes from their real reality, which is very different to someone like myself taking a stereotypical image and presenting it, because it's actually got nothing to do with me.
Right.
It's me just stereotyping. So I think artists who are contemporary are much more aware of not stereotyping identities that are not from their own culture.
Right.
And then there is definitely a move away from that. But then there are also ways to use those stereotypes on purpose in order to drive a message home. So,
right.
But I think, yes, people are playing with it a lot more. And there are artists, like I said, Zanele Mkhole and Tony Gum, who are very much focused on shifting those stereotypes.
Yeah, exactly. And that takes me to the question of the virtual space and digital galleries with light, sound, music, animation. Do you think that's important in terms of the way art is moving right now? Or do you think it's relevant, or do you think it's just a trend?
I think it can be very enriching. Even for someone who works in paint and texture, it can bring another dimension to the work or another level of experience.
Right. Do you think it's helping to get more people, more feet into the museum, more feet into the gallery?
I think so. I think it does actually create a new attraction for people who weren't necessarily before really interested in visual art. For instance, when they did that very immersive Van Gogh experience and the Frida Kahlo where you went to, actually.
Yeah.
I think that created such a different experience because the art was so massive on those projections.
Right.
And it just enhances the artwork, actually, and the beauty of it.
Right.
But it also makes it very exciting. It brings another level of excitement, which I think is a great thing because that can help to give artists more exposure. So I don't think the digital necessarily has to be part of your work in order for it to be relevant and helpful to your work.
Right.
And then there's also things like augmented reality, just in the form of apps, which people have been using here, where you hover it over the artwork and it kind of brings to life. It's kind of gimmicky. I think that is a bit of a fad, and it probably will pass because it's fun, but it doesn't actually add anything to the artwork. It kind of almost cheapens it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then personally, I'm a traditionalist. I'm not really into apps.
Right.
So I might be a bit biased on that. But I think if it's used cleverly, technology can really help to showcase artists' work and bring more appreciation to their work, even for someone who works in very traditional kind of media.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's more exposure through this kind of, even just through videos, where people can actually get exposed to someone's art on the other side of the world.
Right.
So even in that simple way.
Just quickly, if we want somebody to know one thing about you, can you share something that's a secret about you, something that's unique about your personality? I can't, we just want to get the dirt on Gerald.
Well, I think something about my personality, I'm actually a very shy kind of person, and I'm actually a very quiet and private kind of person. So I use my art to express a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to express in another way.
Okay.
And I'm a very emotional person. So I try not to get emotional in things like this, but it does go into the artwork. So yeah, that's basically the things I try to channel into the work.
Gerald, thank you so much for joining us and sharing that with us today. It's so great to learn about you, and I know LA is just gonna lap up all your beautiful artwork. It's so creative. It's so great. So we're so happy to have you here today. I'm just so excited to kind of merge what's happening in your trends in South Africa right now on the international scale. In terms of offering something unique, something different. I was just chatting to Gerald about how, people tend to kind of look at African art in a certain way because a lot of it picks up on the simplicity of maybe a more traditional environment. Whereas you say right now, people are moving into a more abstract space. So how are artists kind of trending to that? Do you find your work is becoming more abstract and modern as a result of these trends, or do you think it has no relevance and you're still sticking to your traditional inspirations because that's the heart and soul of the people that you know?
It depends what type of work you're making. So if your work is very specific about a specific group of people, then maybe it won't be so much influenced by those trends.
Fantastic. I'm so happy to meet you. I really want to introduce you to the LA audience. We really want to know a little bit about you. Can you tell us about yourself, a little bit about your work? It's so beautiful. I love all your pieces. I'm a great fan. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. What motivates you? What are your favorite pieces? What inspired you to pick up the paintbrush?
Oh, yes. My artwork is just for me. It's an easy way for me to express myself. As you can see, I didn't put much behind me. I just placed few artworks. Okay. So my artwork just brings joy out of me. It gives me pleasure when I see other people see what I try to speak about the world, because we all as artists, we see the world differently.
Right.
So I just enjoy seeing other people perspect on my work, see what I'm trying to say, not using my voice, but using my artwork to speak to them and stuff.
Okay, that's great. And what do you think America should know about your work? Do you think what kind of audience are you trying to reach with your artwork or your paintings? Do you think is it relevant? Who are you hoping to reach or to kind of connect with emotionally, if you like, with your beautiful artwork?
Okay, with my artwork, I'm trying to, how can I put this? I'm trying to bring more joy to people. So I know for me, I have no audience specifically. I'm trying to give out to everyone who feels like they need more joy towards their life, because that's what I try to portray out there.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like I have no one in specifically. I feel like everyone, because I'm also trying to bring out South African, what you call this tradition,
Right.
South African tradition, because the daily life that happens here. So I just capture the joy moment. So that's what I want people to know out there.
Yeah, totally. Because I see a lot of that in your work, that it seems very simple, and it's almost like the simplest things in life bring the greatest joy.
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you tell me, what do you think about all this trend happening right now with virtual exhibits and digital effects with the artwork? Do you think it's relevant to your pieces?
Okay, for me, I don't really think so. I feel like with art, people should feel the texture, you should touch it. Because some people through media and stuff, when they see your work, they don't know, maybe for instance, the size, they don't know the size, the texture that you put inside, it doesn't show everything. So I feel like you should view the art face to face, so that you can feel the texture, get along with the artwork and stuff.
Right. And when you're painting, what are you using? Are you using oils? Are you using charcoal? Are you using just tell us a little bit about your painting techniques.
Okay, when I'm painting, I use almost everything, but I always include my newspaper print behind my artwork because that portrays me. That portrays my first what you call this first thing that I wanted to be, because I wanted to be an author while growing up. So I couldn't be an author or an actor. So I took everything that I wanted to do, I placed it in my artwork. That's why I start with the newspaper print, then I use charcoal to sketch, soft pastel, sometimes collage, acrylic paint.
Okay, great. And also, I just want to know if you had to go to one museum or exhibit around the world, what inspires you? What kind of art inspires you? What would you encourage people to go and see that's happening right now?
Okay, for me, I'll specify in contemporary art.
Okay.
I would love to go there. There are certain places I would love to go in, like White Cube, Everadrid. Okay, Everadrid, I've been there. White Cube, it's in Paris. It's also in USA. Yeah, and Listen Gallery. Yeah, those are the places I would love to go to.
Okay, terrific. Can I just ask you as well? Music is such an inspiration coming out of South Africa for the world. Are you inspired by music at all when you're creating your art or when you're painting? Does it have any relevance to your work?
Yes. I am inspired by music too. When I work, I usually listen to music. It inspires me a lot because of the rhythm. You know, every artwork comes out with a single music. You know, it goes with the mood.
Okay.
Sometimes you listen.
And what kind of music? What kind of music do you like?
I listen to Nino Simone's, what you call it, Sade, yeah, and The Weeknd. Those are the music that I love.
Okay, cool. And that inspires you a lot, right?
Yes, that inspires me when I'm doing my work, especially Nino Simone's.
Okay, great. And we just want to know a little bit more about you. Like, can you tell us any secrets about yourself? Like, do you have any favorite things to do, or do you have any does your grandmother have any secret recipes of any kind of food that you like to eat? Or is there one secret you can tell the viewer that they should know about you as an artist?
Okay, one secret that you should know about
I'm
me.
putting you on the spot.
It's not really a secret. I don't think it's a secret. In my spare time, I just love, fun. I'm just outgoing there. So that's me. It's not a secret. It's just fun.
Okay, you like to have fun. Yeah.
Yes, I love having fun a lot in my spare time because I don't feel like I have much of it. Most of the fun I have is talking to it's creating artwork. So when I'm not creating artwork, yes, I just go and explore.
Okay, great.
Anything spontaneous.
And if I'm a person coming from America to South Africa, where are you going to take me? What are you going to show me? Just tell me one secret place.
Okay, first place, I'll bring you to my studio so you see my work. That's the first secret place.
Of course.
That's the first place I'll bring you to. Then the food, the culture, the food, yes. Yeah. I'll take you around and have the food, yeah.
Okay. And what kind of food am I going to be eating?
Okay, I'll start with the locals, which I don't feel like it's that side. Bani chow, there's bani chow here, Mupodi, okay. Just the simple and the local ones, yeah.
Okay, terrific. Okay, terrific. And just tell us a little bit maybe about, where did you grow up? Where do you feel where you grew up and how you were raised? Does that have anything to do with the work that you're creating right now? Do you have any kind of emotions from childhood that are coming through into your work? Or do you just work as a contemporary artist? And do you just work in the moment?
No, for me, it's. I think there is a role of where I grew up in because I didn't grow up with both parents. So also that, so where I grew up, every day seeing people sad, all those hatred and stuff. So it brought more joy into me. I don't know why, but it did. So I tried portraying my artwork through joy. That's why I always capture the moment
Okay.
of joy from people. Then that's what I bring out to my artwork.
Okay, that's so great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think that really gives us a great insight to your work and to you. I'm so homesick for South Africa right now. I haven't been back there for a long time, and I know many people from LA are so curious, want to come out there and want to connect with artists such as yourself. So that is so great. Is there anything else you want to tell us about your work, or anything else that's trending right now in art that you want people to know?
Okay, what I've noticed is modern art that is trending much these days. Modern art, abstract, and contemporary. So what makes me different a bit from that is when I start painting, I limit myself with the colors.
Okay.
So I don't put much colors to whatever I'm painting. I try to limit myself by all means with colors and stuff. So that's what makes me different from other artists and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So you have a very select kind of palette that you use?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. That is so great. So just tell me a little bit where you come from, and the people in your art, the subjects that you choose. Where do you get your subjects from? Where do you find the people that you paint?
Okay, everywhere in SA, everywhere, because I'm not photogenic myself, but I take pictures through the moment every time I walk. I'll even go out with my friends. If I see something loving, something joyous, I'll tell them, just give me a moment. Then I'll start shooting, taking pictures and stuff. So everywhere I go, in the moment, I just capture pictures. Okay. And the one I'll love more, that's the one I'll portray through my artwork and stuff.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to jump over back to Gerald, and then we're going to come back to you, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
So great to meet you, by the way.
Nice meeting you too, Jen.
So Lucas, tell us a little bit more about your work, and what do you look for? Do you get motivated by the work of artists overseas, or do you mostly look to local artists for your inspiration?
For me, I get motivated by any artist. It doesn't matter locally, overseas. We learn differently, so everyone portrays their unique style, the story that they want to tell out there. So it doesn't matter if it's locally or overseas. Okay. I just enjoy. Great. Yeah, I just enjoy it.
Yeah. And when you talk about joy in the paintings, happiness in the paintings, do you think that's what people are buying into when they're looking at your work, that it's bringing them peace and joy in some way by looking at these little things that people do?
Some people do buy it because of that, because it's like a reflection of yourself. When I bring out joy and hope through my painting, it's like reflection. Anyone can reflect through my artwork.
Okay.
So some people buy it because they reflect through my artwork, or they've passed through the stage, which they see through my artwork, or that's what's happening towards their life behind the present.
How long does it take you to paint a picture? Does it take you a couple weeks or a couple months? Just tell, because a lot of people, they don't know about art. They want to know, how do you go about it? How long does it take you? Is it many months, many days? Is it a lot of planning? Or do you just do it spur of the moment?
When you start to get yourself through the process of art, it gets you a lot of months to do one artwork. But once you have captured whatever you love, your unique style, and what you want to portray, you know your story, it can take you like a week, so depending on the size of the painting.
Tebogo, we wanted to find out a little bit about you. Just wanted to know, why did you decide to become an artist? Can you just tell us a little bit about what motivates you? What motivates you to pick up a paintbrush? What motivates you to create your wonderful artwork? Thank you so much for coming on today.
Okay. First of all, I would like to pass my regards to everyone on the show today, and also to show gratitude for this opportunity. I decided to become an artist because of the strong passion that I have for art. And as much as I can remember, I was grade 7 in primary. So during break times, I would paint, and my teachers would complain about me, not doing the schoolwork, but focusing on my art. So for me, it wasn't just a hobby, but it was a passion of which it keeps on motivating me each and every day, to pick up my brushes and paint.
Okay, fantastic. And what do you think America should know about South African artists? What would you like to tell them about yourself and about the work that you create?
Okay. Since I'm from South Africa, we are not really exposed to much opportunities when it comes to craft and art. So what I think America should know is that South Africa has lot of talented young artists, and that whatever that we are doing as South African artists, it comes from a genuine place. So if maybe we could be exposed to other relevant opportunities, which complements the craft that we are doing or the art. So I think South Africa, America should know about these young artists in South Africa, about their talent.
Yeah, I think so too. I love the simplicity of it and the colors. Do you think there are particular colors that are relevant that you use? Can you just tell us a little bit about your techniques and color?
Yes. The technique that I use, it's actually it comes from it, and my creation comes from the spirit. I need to channel myself for me to create work. So I think what makes my work unique is the technique that I use. The approach and the uses of brush strokes and the uses of figures. So my work, I think, it's unique because of those, those small.
Of all the beautiful artwork that you've created, which piece would you say is your greatest masterpiece, and what inspired you?
Okay. My first art piece was created in Cape Town after Atem Gallery has commissioned us to paint murals. So I decided to paint myself as a different identity. I was representing the albinism. So that was my first painting to be done in 2018. So it was created in Cape Town.
Okay, terrific. So, what is trending in the art world right now that you've seen, whether it be in Cape Town or your surrounding areas? What are some of the trends happening that you really relate to as an artist?
I've been to few galleries before, And what I've noticed the most is that the most trending artworks, it's actually an abstract, of which is, I believe, it's also a good artwork to be created according to different movements. So what I think, yeah, I think abstract is the most trending art right now in South Africa. But with the skills that we have now, I think it also, it complements those works as well.
Yeah, for sure. Is any of your work politically motivated? Do you have any kind of political significance in the? Is there any kind of message that you're trying to get across with your work, or is it just spur of the moment, contemporary kind of vibe? Just tell us a little bit about that.
I think my work has a message, because it talks about the realities of local children who remain invisible in the society. So, as an artist, I document those everyday moments and capture them to create the story, So, I need to document first for me to tell a story. So, my work, it's actually my personal work, which resonates with my creativity as an artist, and yeah.
Okay, terrific. Yeah. Does any of your work take you back to your childhood, where you were born, your family? Does that have any kind of impact on your work or your life as an artist?
Yes. My work is actually created from my previous experiences as an artist. So hence we are growing, we are evolving, and things turn out to change each and every time. So my work represents me when I used to grow up as a kid. Hence I use different figures of different kids. So my work, it's actually a personal work, I can say. And I think everyone also connects with the work that I create, because I think we all have our childhood memories within ourselves, So my work is just a reminder of our past experience and how sometimes past can weave itself into a future or a present.
Okay, great. I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about all the digital effects and virtual exhibits at museums that are happening right now? People are wanting to take it into almost a film type of space where the work is really kind of enhanced using digital effects, lighting, etc., music. What do you think of the relevance of that? And do you think it helps the work?
Yeah, I can say that, but since we are artists, we create art for different reasons. For me, I suggest to consider art compared to craft, because when you go to museums, you can only find more art compared to craft. So my main focus now is it's art, art itself. So craft is also in art, but people, love art for different reasons. So it's best if you can balance them both,
Yeah.
between art and craft.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Are you inspired by any kind of music or to create your art?
Yes, I listen to soft music. I have my my personal genre, which helps me to create more and and stay committed.
Yeah, because I know South African music, it's pretty well known. And could you tell us a little bit about some of your favorite music? What do you listen to? What do you like?
Okay. First of all, my favorite genre is it's orchestral music, which mostly it's listened by most intelligent people, I can say. So that music, helped me to focus more on my craft because it pushes me, in terms of my emotions and spirituality.
Yeah.
So so my favorite genre it's orchestral music recently, since it's soft music and jazz.
Oh, cool. Great, thank you so much, Tebogo. It's been great speaking with you. Is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself as an artist? Just before we we say goodbye from LA. We really want to just hear anything about you that's a secret. We want to get the dirt on you.
Okay. What I can say is that whatever that you do in life, do it wholeheartedly. So, and do what you love and love what you do. That's what I can say. And I also wish if other artists can get a chance, to express their talents and be exposed, to these kind of opportunities, as an artist. So for me, it's such an inspiration, to be one of the artists today in the creative industry. And I just wish other artists can get the same opportunities as I am getting. And I just wish everyone likes, especially the kids.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Look forward to coming to LA.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you guys coming to LA.
Please, man, we can't wait to have a live show that side.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have an exhibit, and we're gonna get you guys here.
We're just gonna speak it into existence.